Today, MAPPA released the Kenjaku Files, aka the Culling Game arc. Episode 1 and 2 are on Crunchyroll right now, which is awesome. I'll definitely be making a review video on those very soon. But first, there's something more important to discuss, because a few hours before the episodes aired, Toho actually released the Season 3 opening on YouTube, and I have not been able to stop watching it. Honestly, it's peak. Yeah, sure, the song is an absolute banger, but it's the visuals that do it for me. You may think this is just your run-of-the-mill opening, but it's not, at least not visually. There is a lot of stuff to unpack and analyze in this opening, so without any further yap, let's just dive straight into it. Oh, by the way, this will obviously have manga spoilers. Also, please like the video or JJK will be given to JC staff for Season 4. Alright, let's go. Okay, so the opening starts by making a mockery of Stranger Things, because everything is upside down. Hey, everyone laugh now. The black and red color scheme actually reminds me of the previous OP for Season 2, but this time it's much more deliberate, because the black sky, and it being upside down, actually represents how Kenjaku has cursed everyone in Japan, and intends to bring them to the other side. Now, the other side isn't necessarily a physical place or realm, it's more of a state of being that happens when you're cursed. At least that's what Tengen says. We then see somebody turn on a stove, which is obviously symbolizing how MAPPA is about to absolutely f***ing cook. It immediately transitions into this incredibly beautiful shot of a city block exploding, which could be referencing Shibuya, or it could be something that actually happens in Season 3. I say that because Yuta then jumps out of the explosion in a dope shot, and it made me wonder if this explosion is actually what's going to go down in Sendai Colony between Yuta and Ryu. I definitely think it's more likely to represent Shibuya though, since the lyrics reference Tokyo here, and I'm no geography prodigy or nothing like that bruv, but I'm pretty sure Sendai is not in Tokyo. Shortly after this, we see Chozo doing his best impression of a football, which clearly symbolizes... Yeah, I got nothing. I literally have no clue why he's doing all that. What's interesting is next we see Megami and the outline of his domain, and the lyrics read, "Soaked to the bone in the shame of staying alive," which I guess can be relevant to both Yuji and Megami in a lot of ways, but I find it funny because this low-key just another way of saying Megami is a fraud. Then there's this dope visual of Maki being devoured by flames, and a sequence of Megami with all the symbols of his tamed Shikigami. The lyrics here are just repeating the love and hate part, which I kinda like because love and hate are basically two sides of the same coin, which is incredibly relevant to Jujutsu Kaisen as a whole. As twins, Maki and Mai are two sides of the same coin, and also they definitely have themes of love and hate. However, Yuji and Sukuna are the most obvious examples because they literally are the representation of love and hate and how they contrast. It's very on theme. But this is where things start to get really deep though, because on top of their own original stuff, they also created a load of still visuals that were inspired by real-life artwork. For example, this artwork of Maki slaying what looks like a tiger, which is based on this real-life artwork depicting Miyamoto Musashi, Japan's greatest ever swordsman. So first of all, insane Mihawk downscale. Second of all, I love that Maki is being recognized as a master swordsman. She was introduced to us as the best student in the whole school at wielding cursed tools, and despite having many physical feats with a sword, the theme of her being an expert swordsman, even before Awakening, kind of got overlooked for the rest of the series. So yeah, I find this detail pretty neat, and I also like that Yuta has his own artwork that's very similar, which parallels Maki's straight after this. We then have this incredible visual of Kenjaku in Kaori's body carrying baby Yuji in his womb. Or her womb. I don't know bro, Kenjaku just a freak, innit? Now this is based on a real oil painting by Egon Schiele in 1910 with the title Dead Mother. Now, according to my research, Schiele was known for exploring themes of human vulnerability and death, which supposedly came from his own troubled relationship with his mother, and his own anxiety about death, which is very on theme for Yuji Itadori. It doesn't stop there though, because Schiele was actually a pretty controversial dude who was arrested in 1912 for allegedly seducing a young girl. Now, this reminded me of Kenjaku, who was known as the most evil sorcerer in history due to how he created the Curse Womb paintings. If you know, you know. But yeah, this kind of just goes to show how deeply MAPPA care for this project, and bro, those animators and just the whole team working on it have a real passion to be going this deep with an opening. Anyway, there is then this image of Yuta kissing Kurorushi, which is based on a real painting called A Kiss Makes History, and I couldn't actually find much symbolic meaning behind this at all, but the dude who painted it was known to be a bit of a womanizer who had a habit of sleeping with his models, so make of that what you will, I guess. There are some more artworks like these, but it was mainly the Maki and Kenjaku ones that interested me the most. Moving on though, we see these glorious, like, completely glorious shots of Yuji and Yuta jumping down the side of giant buildings. There's no symbolism or nothing here, like nothing like that. I'm literally just mentioning it because it's so f***ing cool. And speaking of cool, holy f***ing aura, dude. Sukuna genuinely has never looked cooler than he has here in the anime. I'm sorry, but this frame is so glorious, and I love how he's what Yuji sees when looking in the mirror, almost like he's taunting him. Something I found really dope about this opening though, was that there is a recurring visual of a bomb falling, which is something that would confuse even the manga readers because it's a pretty subtle reference. But this bomb imagery is actually meant to represent what Reggie says to Megami about how Kenjaku has an unknown motive for the culling game and will drop a bombshell on everyone. The specifics of what this bombshell is kind of open to interpretation. You could take it as Kenjaku making the world aware of cursed energy and encouraging military intervention from the US in order to increase the total amount of cursed energy expended so that Kenjaku can achieve merger activation. Or you could interpret the bombshell as Sukuna's release, or just the merger plan as a whole, which would make sense because the participants who made a contract with Kenjaku are completely unaware of his true intentions. Either way, this is what the bombshell visual is meant to represent. And speaking of Kenjaku, MAPPA have absolutely cooked with this dude. The way he's looking down on a model of Japan and the colonies really drives home how he's the mastermind pulling all the strings. And there's just something, like, very sinister about MAPPA's depiction of him in these visuals, especially the shot of him laughing at the end. Maki looks dope. That's pretty much all I have to say about this one. And then there is this unbelievably stunning visual of the dudes that Higuruma murdered in his origin story. There's no, like, deep symbolism here, but it's a genuinely beautiful depiction of the event, and it kind of puts what Higuruma did into perspective. Like, seeing it drawn like this makes you really understand why he felt so guilty about it later on. It makes it feel a lot more real. Takabura is hilarious, Yuji is hilarious, but Megami, bruv, Megami just don't want to be there, bro. Again, no symbolism here, it's just hilarious, isn't it? The rest of the opening mostly has a load of frames that are very easy to miss, but actually reveal and tease a lot of stuff. For example, we see Ryu's Granite Blast, and it's blue! Blue. I did not expect that, I'm sorry, but like a bright blue blast. I was not ready for that. We also see a shot of Granite Blast curving in the air, which is when Yuta deflects it using sky manipulation at the end of their fight. And I guess that pretty much confirms part 1 of the culling games will cover everything until the end of, Sendai Colony. And then there's Hakari. Every image of Hakari and Kurara is so dope. Apparently, his big fur coat is actually bright red, which surprised me a lot. Also, why did MAPPA feel the need to drip him out even more? And why is he surrounded by these, like, nothing burger thugs, bro? Like, he doesn't know them like that. I don't know. Like, and what's this random business guy? Do you know what? I'm just gonna move on before I start crashing out over this. But look, he's doing the thing, bro. The Hakari finger dance thing. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. I guess Kurara has no reason to really look that cool, but I'm definitely here for it. We then see the Zenins, we see my glorious King Hazanoki, we see Kurorushi, we see Uro, we see Druv, we see Ryu, and holy f***, Yuta looks so cool. Bro, I'm just gonna take a screenshot of this and use it as a thumbnail. Actually, I'm gonna do that with a load of images in this opening, because they're so dope. The opening then ends with an amazing Yuji visual of him being a cog in the machine, and then Kenjaku laughing like the sadistic dirtbag he is. Yeah, this opening was so peak that I decided to basically just put my episode review on hold for a few hours and make an entire video dedicated to breaking this down because it's just, there's so much in here. But yeah, like the video, subscribe to the channel, thanks for watching, and I will see you in a bit for those reviews. Stay tuned.